Aquarius, this is your monthly forecast for the month of August 2016. Thank you so much for joining me. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys that this is a general horoscope for anyone born under the sun, moon, or rising sign in the sign of Aquarius. And don't forget that you have a whole chart to look at when it comes to astrology. You're more than just one sign as far as your personality and your life path. And I've posted a link in the description box to a website where you can go and pull your own birth chart and see what other signs make up your astrological profile. You can have a sun in Aquarius because you were born in January or February. But what about your moon sign? What about your rising sign? They can be in a different sign. So make sure when you find those out, you watch the horoscope videos for those signs as well, if they are different from Aquarius. Also, if you would like a reading, a personal reading for your chart, my email address is down below and you can shoot me an email with all of your details and also the link to how you can just click on and order a reading. Make sure you include all of your birth details for me as well if you order one. Is also in the description box. So click on that and we can get something scheduled for you. All right, Aquarius, now on to your August forecast. All right, Aquarius, so this month you guys still have a little bit of relationship focus hanging out that's left over from July. So there's still an emphasis there. And there is going to be a shift that happens that's a little bit more of a deeper area of focus for you. Like deep partnerships that are very intimate, very soul level bonding. And also there's going to be an eclipse that happens in your sign, which is super important for you guys. So it really is about you and your relationships this month. So let me break down the energies in detail and explain why this is. All right, Aquarius, so your opposite sign is Leo. That is what's called your 7th house. And the sun is still in Leo until August 22nd. So there's still a big emphasis on relationships. If you're not into relationships like committed partnerships or bonds, this is just another one of those energies that's all about shining out into the world, like being seen by other people, being recognized, being considered a very likable person, and being popular amongst groups of people. Maybe not huge groups like the masses, like the whole world seeing and adoring you. It's not like that. It's more like on a lower scale of people seeing you and looking at you in a positive light, and you wanting to socialize a little bit more as well. So yes, this is relationships one-on-one with other people. It can be romantic. It can definitely mean romantic. So if you are a single Aquarius and you are looking to find love, then this is a month where you can be, there can be a focus more on you when it comes to dating. Like people may want to hook you up with someone, or you just may shine out as being a little bit more attractive to other people, and they'll really see you this month as long as you do the work and still put yourself out there, Aquarius. There is a new moon that happens in Leo in your 7th house in the month of August, and I will explain in detail at the end of this video what this means for you. But this is a new beginning in relationships, so if you are looking for a relationship, get ready, Aquarius, because there is a new beginning this month. All right, so the sign of Virgo is 8 signs from Aquarius, and whenever it's Virgo season, this is a time of year where you are, your mind is open to more deeper thoughts. It can, on a negative side, be thoughts about past trauma, past relationships that really affected you and affected you on a really deep soul level and a very deeply emotional level to where it was hard to let go. This is also, the 8th house is also a house of any type of inheritances or any type of income that you get other than working at a job. For example, if you get any type of assistance from the government, if you get, any VA benefits or disability, Social Security, alimony, child support, any of that stuff. Also is a focus if you are in a partnership to where you share your resources and finances, whether it's a romantic one or a business partnership. Joint finances are a huge focus when it's Virgo season for my Aquarius people in particular. So Mercury is going to be in Virgo the whole month of August in your 8th house. Wherever Mercury travels, this is where your mind is going to be the most focused. Okay, so you're going to be really thinking about money, how to organize and budget money along with a partner. If that applies to you, your mind is going to be on very deep things. Like, it may be harder to let go. Say, for example, if someone hurt your feelings this month, you may feel a little bit more vengeful, and yeah, it may be harder to kind of move on from that. Even though my Aquarian people, just generally speaking about your energy, you're not the most emotional sign. You guys are usually pretty detached, and when messy emotions get involved in situations, you tend to rise above that and look down upon the situation from an unemotional, detached view. But this month, that your usual Aquarian detached nature, it may be harder to maintain because Mercury, which rules the mind, is in this deep psychological, emotional area for you. So yeah, like I said, there can be some trauma from the past that comes up. This is a great time when people can benefit from seeing some sort of counselor, therapist, some sort of healer, or maybe even just turning to your friends or any close, trusted loved ones or people that you are close to express how you feel at this time, or if there are any old traumatic memories that come back, then this is a time where you can discuss them with just trusted people. Get it out. The eighth house is a house where things can fester. Things can go there and be buried and hidden, but they will fester and they will come to the surface. And I know that sounds really grody, but this is just an example, like a description of the energy. I use a lot of figurative language because I'm a Pisces moon. So this is what picture comes to my mind that I can tell you the energy is like. So your mind is definitely going to be going in deeper places and more darker places. So any like superficial small talk conversations may be a turn off for you this month, Aquarius. You may not really feel like, you know, being superficial because the sun is going to be in your seventh house, right? And the seventh house, just being honest, can be kind of superficial, can be kind of surface level friendly with other people, and can be okay with small talk and just finding a common ground with someone, but it's not really like a super serious, like emotional thing that you have with them, like a bonding experience with another person. But with Mercury in your eighth house, you are going to be craving that. You are going to be able to see to the heart of a situation, see right through people. If people are lying to you, you're going to be able to tell much more easier. You're going to be a little bit more of like a secret agent or a spy this month. If there's anything that you get this intuitive feeling like it's not right, you're going to have a more investigative mind to where you will seek out those answers and find them. And my Aquarian people, you guys are so smart. You guys are usually very think outside the box and think ahead and think above, that you can find answers to everything, you know, because you're like this genius energy. But yeah, so the eighth house, Mercury being there, is going to help to bring some things to light and to the surface that are hidden, whether that's positive or negative. That depends on you, your life, and your chart. But just know that you need to turn to someone or some source to vent all of that stuff out, that especially the ugly things, okay? That way you can get them out and then you can move on renewed and refreshed and regenerated, because the eighth house is all about death and rebirth and regeneration. And that doesn't have to mean a physical death, like a scary death, but it can mean just a death of something old, even a thought, a memory, an experience that just finally needs to leave your mind, leave your subconscious, your consciousness. It just needs to be gone, and you need to be able to breathe easier. Mercury in the eighth house is a good time for you to manage and organize anything that's like I mentioned, taxes and inheritances and insurance, or any joint finances with a partner, because Mercury is the energy of managing and organizing and thinking logically and making plans and things like that. So you'll definitely be putting that type of energy into eighth house matters, into finances joint with other people, or that you get from other sources other than just a regular, like a 9 to 5 job. Mercury is going to go retrograde in your eighth house this month. There's a few scenarios that can happen with that, but just let me break down the general Mercury retrograde effects and energy. So Mercury rules communication. It rules any way that you get around your town, your city. That can mean by bicycle, by train, by bus, public transportation, or it can mean, your vehicle that you use to drive yourself. It also rules how you speak, write, text, talk, how you type. It rules all of those things and the devices that you use to communicate in those ways. So whenever Mercury is starts to go backwards, which it will do on August 30th, all of those things can be backwards. And your words that you say, if you say something negative, for example, it can be boomeranged right back to you with that retrograde motion. Now, before Mercury goes retrograde on the 30th, around 2 weeks before that, it can, give or take like a few days or so, Mercury goes into what's called its shadow period. And that's when it starts to slow down its forward orbit. It's still moving forward, but slowing down. Then it comes to a complete stop, and then it goes backwards in its retro orbit, a backwards orbit, which is called Mercury retrograde. So around the 15th, the 14th, this is when you can start seeing the effects in that way, in a general way. But for my Aquarians in particular, the way that Mercury retrograde in the 8th house is going to affect you is it can bring back old memories, bring back old memories of an intimate relationship that you had once upon a time, that maybe it was someone that you never really quite got over or let go of. Those memories can come back into your mind and kind of haunt you in a way. So make sure you vent it out some kind of way, Aquarius. It can also be a traumatic situation of pain or hurt, emotional stuff from the past coming back to you again. So once again, with that situation, talk to a counselor or therapist or someone trusted to vent it all out and heal from it. Mercury retrograde in the 8th house can also bring back old lovers, old relationships that are intimate that you had in the past, in the mind, but also in, the physical world. You can have someone from your past that you shared that type of bond with call you all of a sudden out of the blue. Well, people don't really call very much anymore. So maybe send you a text message or an IM or a DM or something a little less like direct, okay? Because people don't pick up the phone and say, yo, anymore. So an old lover from the past is possible to contact you during this time. So I would say if you are not trying to hear from anyone from your past, Aquarius, you need to make sure before Mercury goes into shadow around the 14th or 15th of August that you block all of those exes from Facebook. And this can even mean exes of your significant other, okay? You make sure that they're blocked from your social media and your boo's social media, okay? Because they will come creeping back, or at least try, when there's retrogrades. So Venus moves into the sign of Virgo on the 5th of August, and this is your 8th house. Venus in the 8th house. This is very, very sensual energy. It's very possessive. It can be kind of jealous on the negative side and be very attached to someone. This is bonding with someone on a level that's like you bear all to them, not just physically, but I mean your soul. Like you really get to know someone on a deep level where you strip down everything, all facades, all, my Aquarius people, you guys could be totally stone-faced, like, I have no emotion, I am not human. Well, when Venus goes into your 8th house, that might go a little bit out the window, okay? You might actually have someone come into your life that breaks down those barriers, breaks down those protective walls of, detachment from emotion, and you may get a little bit more emotional with another person. Like I said, Venus in the 8th, it can cause a little jealousy and possessiveness, so try not to get too cray-cray or allow people to get crazy about you, because the 8th house is a very magnetically attracting and attractive energy. So Venus going there, you can attract a little more craziness, a little more possessiveness from a partner or a potential love interest or partner. So just a fair warning with that, but on a positive level, on a positive note, yes, this is a very, very This is a very, very nice time for couples to where you get very cozy with one another. You kind of put blinders on towards the rest of the world and you want it to be only you and that person. So if any of my Aquarians are like, yuck, emotions, bonding, blah, I don't want any of that. Venus in the 8th house, since Venus represents money and financial things, material things, you can come upon, some money that is given to you from maybe family or from the government or something that, maybe you were expecting for a while and it finally shows up, or maybe you weren't expecting it and it just shows up for you. So those are possibilities as well. So the sun moves into the sign of Virgo in your 8th house on the 22nd of August, and wherever the sun shines, this illuminates that area of your life. So the 8th house is illuminated even more because the sun joins Mercury and Venus that have already been there the whole month, and just really shines more of a light of clarity on that deep, dark 8th house, Aquarius. So more of bringing secrets to life and to the surface and to the light, more of bringing anything that's been hidden away by you or other people. And like I said, you could be a super secret spy or detective when you have all this 8th house energy. So whoever you're involved with, if you are, or someone wants to be involved with you, they better be telling the truth and not even try to lie or BS you, because you're going to be a human lie detector with this 8th house energy. So Mars enters Sagittarius on the 2nd of August. For you guys, this is your 11th house of groups and friends, like-minded people. This is, the 11th house is your house. It's very similar to your energy because Aquarius is the 11th sign on the zodiac wheel. And so whenever the 11th house is highlighted, which for you, 11 signs from Aquarius is Sagittarius. So whenever there's energy in the planet in the sign of Sagittarius, that has to do with Aquarian type of themes, like your friends. You guys are all about groups, belonging to a group while still remaining an individual. And when Mars enters there, Mars is action and drive and aggression, okay? And so Mars can help you to put more action into any type of activities that you do as a group with other people. Or the 11th house is also humanitarianism, really doing things to stand up for the rights of people, because the 11th house in Aquarius, you guys believe in equality of all people, that you guys are all beings here. We're all beings here, and we're all souls, just, having a human body experience on Earth. And usually the energy of Aquarius and the 11th house doesn't really look at gender, race, color, religion. It doesn't really care for those things, it just really is interested in beings and souls, period, point blank. So Mars can make you to really be a fighter for things like that, a fighter against equality. These days, everything is about racism and politics, and with Saturn being in Sagittarius, also in your 11th house. But the energy of Sagittarius is all about justice, fighting for things like that. And Mars moving into that sign, into that house for you, can really make you more of an activist, really start speaking out. You may have been a little more silent previously, Aquarius, but now it's like you're going to be on fire. So you need to watch your social media posts, because wherever Mars transits, it's like you're aggressive and you can attract aggression to you from people that belong in that realm that's associated with that energy. So for you, it's groups. That can be the internet groups, that could be in-person groups. You may be a little more feisty, and people may take your words and your actions a little bit more seriously, and a little bit more like, hey, you're being so aggressive, and take offense to it. So just be very mindful of that with Mars in the 11th house. All right, so let's get to these moons. So they're super, super important for you guys, Aquarius, because they affect your relationships and you yourself in a big way. So every month there is a new moon. That's when the sun and the moon come together in the same sign and the same degree, and they give birth to something brand new, okay? So a brand new beginning in whatever area of life that it's transiting through. So for you guys, it's in the sign of Leo, which is your 7th house of relationships. It's your opposite sign, so it has to deal with other people. A brand new relationship can begin, or an ending to a relationship to clear the way so that maybe a brand new one can come in now or later. That's a lot better for you, Aquarius. And this is making a positive aspect to Saturn in your 11th house. Now, the new moon in your 7th can be a new relationship. And then Saturn in Sagittarius is in your 11th house of groups and friends. So what this says to me is there is a possibility that some of my Sagittarians can develop a more closer relationship with a friend. It can be solidified in something that's kind of solid because of Saturn. Saturn's all about building solid foundations, and it doesn't play around, you know. So it can be that you find romance within a friendship, or that just a relationship that you already have or that you're already working on in general is solidified in some sort of way, and you guys set a new ground, maybe set new rules, and just really start fresh and new and work very hard towards this relationship. This can mean a business partnership too. And the 11th house is networking, and the 7th house is business partnerships. So there's an aspect there that's positive, that's supportive, and that's what this new moon is bringing to you, just something new with groups of people, networking, and relationships that are business or romantic. So the full moon is when the sun and moon are in opposite signs. They're opposing each other, and they send a challenging aspect to one another that it's kind of like a tug of war type of energy, and it forces a breakthrough when things come to a breaking point. So that's a full moon. That's why it gets so emotionally intense and people get so wound up, and then they just go rah and explode and maybe do something crazy. That's why the full moon brings higher rates of like hospital visits and arrests and things like that. To the emergency room, people go there more because it's like finally like this breaking point, you know, after so much tug of war happens. So for you guys, this is in your sign, and it's an eclipse. Hello, this is super powerful, super important. Eclipses are like a full moon on steroids. Okay, now this is a minor eclipse. It's not like a huge major eclipse, but it's still an eclipse. So the effects last longer than month to month like the usual full moon. So with it being in your sign, Aquarius, let me tell you, a new beginning anywhere in your life can happen. This can also mean a new beginning with your appearance and how you see yourself and how you identify yourself, because the first house where the full moon is at is your identity. It's who am I? What am I here for? But most importantly, who am I? You know, so it's going to bring that to light for you. And bonus for you guys, this full moon is making a positive aspect called a sextile to Uranus in Aries, and Uranus is your ruling planet. So your ruling planet positively aspecting a full moon eclipse in your sign. This is huge, huge for you guys. Okay, so new beginning, and then Aries is your 3rd house of communication. So you can be speaking out about something around this full moon. It can be that you finally free yourself from, like, maybe you're an Aquarius that even though you guys are very rebellious, you're very individualistic type of people, and you don't believe in following trends and crowds. Maybe you've had to conform. You know, maybe you've been in like a job situation, or, you know, just in some type of situation, a relationship to where you had to conform and you couldn't fully be free to just be yourself. You know, your eccentric self. You couldn't do that for whatever reason. So this full moon can free you from any restraints that are causing you to not feel like you can be yourself, like your true individual self. And whether you're like unique and eccentric or wild and rebellious, I mean, those are qualities generally associated with Aquarius. You're going to have more of that in your life going forward after this new moon. So the first house is also your life path. Life path change can definitely happen, and it can have to do with communication and something that you're going to be speaking out about proudly, because the first house, something in your sign, planetary activity in your sign, makes you loud and proud, Aquarius. So look forward to this full moon eclipse on the 18th. All right, Aquarius, last but not least, what I'm going to do for you guys this month is pull 2 angel tarot cards from my angel tarot deck by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. I'm going to pull one for the new moon and one for the full moon, and tell you guys what exactly the messages are for you guys, for Aquariuses, in the month of August. So I'm going to shuffle your cards and I'll be right back. All right, you guys. So for the new moon that happened on the 2nd of August, the card that came up for you guys was the 10 of Fire. The message written on the card says, too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance, stress-related health concerns. So the life out of balance thing, I mean, you know, this is activity going on in your 7th house of other people. So if you've been a people-pleasing Aquarius and you've been sacrificing yourself in order to make other people happy, then this is a time where you really need to do something about it. And you need to ask for help. Now, this card, it's a very busy card as far as color. I do pay attention to the colors a lot in the cards. And there's a lot of color going on. This dragon has a lot of color, and it's like wings or feathers. And there are wands in this pot of coins, okay? And then the wands are so like multicolored that this is just a very busy card, okay? Where there's so much going on. So you guys, your 6th house is Cancer. And last month during Cancer season, my Aquariuses could have been working extremely hard and could have been thrown off balance, you know, to where some of that may carry over into this month, into August. So this is saying ask for help from other people. Now, the new moon is in your 7th house of other people, okay? So definitely don't be afraid to ask for help if necessary, and you may get a positive, you know, result from doing so. Since this new moon is pertaining to relationships, there can be like a lot going on in your relationships, like a lot. Like you're really busy or they're really busy, and you guys don't really have a lot of balance in your relationship to where there's like time for one another, or, you know, time to really step out and just be a couple. And maybe you guys are always like having to worry about money and finances and bills and things like that. So this is definitely suggesting that you find some balance within that relationship with like regular life stuff and also with being a couple with one another. So that is the 10 of Fire for you guys this month. So for the full moon in your sign on the 18th, I pulled the 10 of Earth. Now, the 10 of Earth card, it says on the card, a very happy family life, financial security, finding magic in the little things in life. So, the full moon eclipse is about relationships as well, you know, with other people. It's you and other people. So this is why I've been saying, if you've been a people pleaser, Aquarius, there's going to be a breakthrough that may happen where you say, enough is enough. I have to worry about me and what I'm doing with my life, okay? But this card, 10 of Earth. Earth cards are representing financial security and the material world. And then 10 is, it's also a number of completion. It's like, it has the number 1, which is new beginnings, and the number 0, which is like, which tells me that something maybe had to be cleared away in order for a new beginning to happen. And if this is in regards to you yourself, it could affect any part of your life, Aquarius. But this card has, you know, there's 2 fairies or angels. There's one that has green wings, and green is the color of the heart chakra, which says do what your heart desires and what makes your heart content, makes you happy in life. And the angel is smiling. And then there's another angel who's laughing and has yellow wings. Yellow is the color of the solar plexus chakra, which is all about like confidence and things like that. So all in all, what this card tells me, there's children playing on here. So yeah, you can feel a little bit more better about life once some release and some breakthrough happens for you this month with this full moon eclipse. It can maybe let something go that wasn't really doing you any favors in life, to allow welcoming in more happiness, more abundance. Now there's children on here, but that doesn't, if you don't have children, this can mean childlike fun. The card itself does say finding magic in the little things in life, which children can do and adults can't always do because our minds are so bombarded by like the real world, you know, like working a 9 to 5, paying bills, and we kind of forget about the little things like that little kids pay attention to. You know, we skip over them, we forget about them. So enjoy your life, Aquarius. Really use this full moon energy to take another look at you and who you are and what makes you happy, and free yourself from anything that is holding you back, even if that's a relationship. All right, Aquarius, well, that was your August forecast, and I really hope it was helpful for you or insightful. Do subscribe, that way you can see your monthly forecast from me every single month. And also, don't forget to shoot me an email with your details if you want a reading, and also the link to order the reading is down below as well. Don't forget to follow me on other social media platforms. I am on Facebook, Twitter, I am on Snapchat and Instagram. I do all the young, cool, hip kid stuff. All right, guys, well, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in September. Peace.